I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by my co-host with Harrison Bader like hair.
Yeah, it's a weird ordeal. Katie is just proving to be childish.
Which is why I don't feel I would give $5 million to Jack Campbell.
I don't know. Baseball is one of those sports where anyone who makes the playoffs really can be a contender.
I think the Padres definitely do it.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell gets traded.
Kyrie Irving does have the track record of not being a great locker room fit, or even good locker room fit.
Bader got some luscious locks. I gotta say it.
This is Zach Bigley, the broadcaster for the Frisco Rough Riders, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin. You guys better subscribe.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our USFL/XFL opinions of the week. A little extra one here. We're going to cover the USFL and the XFL. And once again, I'm joined by the man with a microphone and sports opinions, Austin. How about you use that one?
I don't believe so.
Afraid I was going to miss one.
Yeah, and then this is a interesting one because I've had this question for myself for a while. Can the USFL and XFL coexist? It's an interesting question. Well, what's your take on it?
I think it's a very interesting question, and I know I've said it a lot, is the XFL being in collaboration with the NFL plays a huge part in it. And now, like, the USFL had 1 year now, and now the XFL is competing. I think they are competing. It depends on when the seasons end, but I'm very intrigued with how they get just the amount of players. And did you see that XFL scandal?
I did not.
A player apparently sold plays to the other team, and then he got cut.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure I saw it on Twitter.
That's crazy if true.
XFL. I think it may have been the Battlehawks.
Yeah, he's never going to see the field in any NFL or anything. I wouldn't assume.
Man, I can't remember. Yeah, it was actually the Guardians. He be cut after he allegedly gave opposing XFL teams plays from his team's playbook.
That's unbelievable.
It was Quinnen Dormandy.
What position?
He's the quarterback.
Is he a backup?
Yeah, he's a backup, I believe.
Holy dude! Well, I don't know nothing could make me do that.
And they removed his stats from the website.
Wow. I don't know what to say. That is crazy.
Yeah. So, I'm intrigued with that. With the USFL, you also had the coach firing the player because he wouldn't eat the food given to him. So, I'm very intrigued, but I'm probably gonna have to say no. They can't coexist unless they just don't compete with each other.
They have to though. They have to compete.
Yeah.
I'd say, how long do you say they can coexist? Because right now they're coexisting, so there has to be a certain time. If you say it's 1 year, it's 1 year, but there has to be a certain time limit.
Probably 3 years or more.
They can?
No, if they're lasting for 3 or more years together, then they're coexisting.
Well, no. Well, they're coexisting right now. How long do you think they will coexist?
Under at the most 3 years.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, 3 years is a good number. I'm gonna go. Oh man, I don't want to agree, but I will. I think 3 years is really as this is year 1, year 2. Yeah, because eventually, and I think the XFL has a steep advantage because of, like you said, they have that agreement. Also, The Rock being a part of it, I think, is good for television, but I think the competition will be there, and I think one does have to beat out the other. I think one will survive.
Yes, I think one will survive. And I'm curious, I also think 3 years works for like a team dynamic of how good they are. If you last more than 3 years, then I think you're pretty, like, that's a pretty good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Because the USFL originally, 1986 is when it ended. They didn't have a 19, or it looks like they had a 1986 season. But that's when they tried to move to fall and they had the court case. But, yeah, so if you can make it more than 3 years, I think that heavily increases your chances of making it as a pro league.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really hard for either of them to make it that long if they don't consistently put out good content. And the USFL did last year, but these reports of crazy stuff like you just mentioned, I think can really hinder the ability for people to actually trust that what is going on is true and quality.
Yeah, a thing that I find that's like probably the least craziest story I read. In like term of the USFL book I read, that one was pretty crazy because of the owners. One of the owners was essentially bankrupt, and that's when he had lied that he was a billionaire, and they didn't check it. And he's the guy that gave Steve Young the mega contract, and like he couldn't pay anyone else. So
To be the coach, was
and
Steve Young supposed to be a coach?
no, Steve Young was the quarterback. Like he
Oh,
signed a 40.
You're talking about in the 80s. Okay.
Yeah, in the 80s. Yeah, I'm talking about the 80s. It was on the state in 1984. BYU quarterback Steve Young signed a 43-year, $40 million. So yeah,
43-year.
yeah, that was the only way they could make it work.
43-year.
Yeah, around 40 million in the 80s.
43 years.
That's what this.
It was 10 years.
Yeah, it was 10 years, but maybe it took 40
But he agreed to take his payment in a form of annuity paid out over 40 years to help the fledgling team.
Yeah. So yeah, the guy I don't think couldn't make it, so he did it in a different way. So, and then there's just some.
It was reported that Young had ensured the contract would still be paid until 2027.
Oh wow, so he's still getting payments. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the guy who faked his billionaire status, and they didn't check him.
That is crazy.
But yeah, so I'm very intrigued, and it will be interesting to see. And then I do like the XFL play. That's been fun to watch. I just haven't watched the USFL one as much. There is also USFL was never on ESPN, right?
I don't remember. I think it was, though.
Oh, it was?
I thought. I don't remember.
I remember they were on Fox and NBC. And I just never. But I've checked into the XFL ones. But yeah, that's all I got. Anything else?
No, I think it's an interesting conversation, but it's a really one we just have to wait and see.
Yes, that's very true. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.